Hello everybody, this is General Yanis, and today in Death Card Tactics I will be reviewing the Helblade from Forge World. It's a Forge World flyer, and is it a useful supersonic contagion spreader? So let's get started. So today, the 15th of February, the day after Valentine's Day, and trying to remember when I actually ordered the Codex. Yeah, it seems so far away, and it looks like my parcel is still somewhere in the UK being sorted out. So it's not it's not even moving out of the UK. So yeah, let's see if I will ever get it. Reviewing, as I said, the Forge World Flyer, the Hellblade, and the first time I have been looking at and considering a flyer, but I think there are some very interesting tactics and strategies using such a fast model. So first I will take a short look at the stats and the weapons of the Hellblade. Then I will just compare the damage to other Death Guard units, looking a little bit at the durability, and then showing you some examples and some ideas of how to use this fast unit to spread contagions fast to the enemy, gaining some advantage early on in the game. And before I start, I want to thanks everybody for supporting the channel by subscribing, and a special thanks to all my patrons for supporting my work and coming up with this idea for this video. So let's take a look at the weapon stats and the stats of the Hellblade. So the Hellblade costs 135 points. It is an aircraft and it has a movement between 20 and 60 inches. So basically with 60 inches it could probably go wherever on the battlefield, but it has to move, let's say, a minimum of 20 inches. If it flies off the table, then it goes to reserves and then it can come in again. Being an aircraft, it doesn't have basically any weapon skill. The ballistic skill is the 3+, strength 6, toughness 6, 9 wounds, which is good because it doesn't degrade, 2 attacks, quite academic because it doesn't have any basic melee abilities, 8 leadership, 3+ save, and importantly a 5+ inval save. It is an airborne unit, so this means it cannot charge, and it can only itself be charged by enemies that have the fly ability. It is supersonic, so when you move it, you first have to pivot it up to 90 degrees from where it's heading, and then you have to move in a straight line, and you cannot pivot again. It has the hard to hit ability, so it's -1 to hit by ranged attacks. And when it's reduced to 0 wounds, it explodes on a 6, dealing D3 mortal wounds within 6 inches. And this we can make auto explode with our stratagem, for example. The keywords are aircraft and a vehicle, and it has Bubonic Astartes, Fly, Heretic Astartes, Nurgle, Death Card, of course, so we can keep our contagions. It has, and very importantly, it has the Plague Company keyword, and of course, Chaos. Looking at its weapon choices, the standard is 2 times twin autocannon, and then you can replace these 2 autocannon with 2 las cannons. Basically, it's the same cost, but the first option, you have a heavy 4 weapon, so you would have 8 shots with 2 of them. Long range, strength 7, AP -1, damage 2, and the last cannon is strength 9, AP -3, damage D6. So it's a fast aircraft with 20-inch minimum move for a good 135 points. But it's not as cheap to get the actual model, of course, being a Forge World model. It does not have disgusting resilience, and it does not have the contagions of Nurgles to begin with. But because it's a part of the Plague Company, so it could be used for the Flash Outbreak, and I will show you a little bit of a demo video later. So you can target this unit with a Flash Outbreak stratagem, and then it would carry the contagions of the same Plague Company that are on the battlefield. Here we can see a quick comparison of the 2 weapon options it has, corrected for 100 points, and not so important here because they cost the same. But we see that the blue line, the twin autocannon, is the best option for nearly all targets except some toughness 8 targets. So I think for the 8 shots from the twin autocannons are better than 2 las cannon shots for basically all targets. And for being an aircraft and flying around and shooting maybe at more opportunity targets, harassing different opponents, I think the twin autocannons is the best option for this for the Hellblade. And then quickly comparing to other Death Guard units, the damage output per 100 points across all targets. We see the Hellblade with the twin autocannon does some okay damage in the middle of the pack, let's say, for long range, and then short range, of course, it's because more units have some options only at short range, are not able to fire at long range. So, of course, no melee capability to speak of course, being an aircraft. Now, looking briefly at the durability of the Hellblade. So here are how many shots it takes to kill a Hellblade, not point corrected, and it's important. One of the good things, I mean, it has toughness 6, it's -1 to hit to ranged weapons, and involve save 5+, gives the Hellblade a decent durability comparable to, for example, a 13 Bloatdrone. But here you can see how many shots it can take from various targets, and it's really helpful for it that it's -1 to hit. And here is the total durability, how many shots it takes from all these weapons compared to the toughest units, the Blighthauler, Terminator, and Entropy, Plague Burst Crawler with Entropy cannons, for example, here, Mortarion, a Plague Marine, and 13 Bloatdrone. So it's quite comparable to a 13 Bloatdrone, how many shots it can take before it's killed. So yeah, and of course it would be vulnerable to anti-air weaponry, some of these anti-air weapons that are shooting even better when they are attacking aircraft. And for melee weapons, of course, the opponent needs to charge the Hellblade with fly units, increasing its durability as it cannot be tied down by normal infantry units, for example. So let's look at one of the ideas how to use it as a contagion spreader, and probably the major point in taking it, not only to make some damage, of course. So one of its primary use could be to put a significant part of the enemy within contagion range early in the game. So with a movement of 20 to 60 inches, it should be able to reach any important spot on the table. For example, if the opponent has a lot of synergies, a lot of characters buffing infantry at some part of the table, and then you could fly the Hellblade close by there and put that area within contagion, benefiting your army or disabling abilities of the opponent. And of course, being an aircraft, you have to think about careful placement to not to have fly out of the board in the next turn, remembering the 90-degree pivot. And then the key things here is the flash outbreak stratagem, to use that on the Hellblade, and then it would copy any Plague Company Warlord trait and the contagions. For example, it could be interesting with the gloaming or the droning, or whatever Plague Company Warlord trait you want to spread better. You cannot use the flash outbreak and copy to the Hellblade the Mortarion's warlord trait, since Mortarion does not have a Plague Company keyword. So otherwise that would have been really great, because Mortarion can choose a free, let's say, warlord trait in the beginning of the game, and you could fine tune it to the opponent you're facing. In combination with Gift of Plagues, the psychic power would give the Hellblade a 9-inch contagion from turn 1. And for this, you would probably need a fast psyker like Daemon Prince or Mortarion to cast it successfully on the Hellblade, depending on where the Hellblade flew in the first turn. Because in the first turn, it would get a 1-inch contagion range, increased to 3-inch due to the flash outbreak, and then with the +6 inches from the Gift of Plagues, you would have the maximum 9-inch contagion, or a very high 9-inch contagion, putting a large part of the map within contagion range. So now I will switch over to the tabletop simulator to show you a bit of example of the Hellblade and this combo in action, so you can see a little bit an example here. So hello everybody to the tabletop simulator, where I will show you some example with with the Hellblade. So here I've just put some Death Guard units here on the table, and here we have our nice fast aircraft, the Hellblade. And on the other side we have, for example, it could be some Admech with some Castellan robots and a call ready to shoot our Mortarion or whatever we have here to smithereens, rerolling abilities and etc. Or we could have, let's say, eradicators with some captains to be able to get more rerolls, etc. And in our army, we have in this example, for example, Mortarion, and here we have our warlord, the Lord of Contagion, and here we have selected Mortarion's Anvil as a plague company. So you can see the Lord of Contagion's Contagion aura for giving -1 toughness, but we have selected the Gloaming Bloat from Mortarion's Anvil that prevents, for example, enemy units for reroll. So let's say he has this flavor of Contagion as well, and Mortarion might have something else, the droning or whatever we select for Mortarion. So if we say if this is our first phase, you can see the Hellblade doesn't have any Contagion to begin with. And we are in round 1, where normally our Poxwalkers or some other units only have 1-inch Contagion. But if we play the Flash Outbreak stratagem for 2 command points, and we select the Hellblade, this allows us to copy, and if it's in the same plague company as our Warlord, here we would have him in the Mortarion's Anvil battalion together with the Lord of Contagion, then he would be able to first of all get a copy of the contagions that any plague company unit has. So in this case he would get the -1 toughness contagion and the specific contagion from the Gloaming Bloat. And then all contagions would be counting as 1 round higher. So here we would have a 1-inch contagion now for round 1, and 3. We will be up to 3-inch contagion for the second round for all our units. So this would mean that the Poxwalkers would get a contagion of 3, etc. And then basically what we can do, the Hellblade having a 20-inch move minimum and a 60 maximum, and first we can pivot, and then we can fly away to some good spot on the table. So in this case, for example, we can just pivot him a little bit, and then he can fly straight up close to the Castellan robots to put them under the contagion here. So let's do that. So here he has no problems moving. He could also move and be placed somewhere behind, and so on. And here we can see with 3 inches, maybe it's difficult to tag a lot of units. But if we also have some Psyker that can move within 18 inch of the of our unit, we can also cast the Gift of Plagues. So in this case, let's move Mortarion 12 inches ahead. And then he can, in the psychic phase, he manages to cast Gift of Plagues to the Hellblade, giving it 6 inch more to its contagions, including the Gloaming Bloat. So in this case, then it would be coming up to 9 inches. So we can see here now we can have, for example, this unit of eradicators or whatever, a larger portion of the map within the contagions. So in this case we continue with our move, and then the opponent being inside this range will not be able to, for example, use the rerolls in this situation. If we're playing an aggressive melee army that wants to move fast, we could have selected let's say we could have use another plague company and use the droning warlord trait, copying that to the Hellblade, and then it would be possible to have the movement of the units affected by this 9-inch contagion, and then they would not be advancing so well or moving up to the field towards our units as fast as possible. One thing to consider with the aircraft, of course, is that you need to move them a minimum of 20 inches. So in the next turn, we should maybe pivot 90 degrees and maybe move this way, and then move, for example, a 20 inch. So it takes a bit more careful planning with aircraft to put them somewhere useful, or we could have turned a little bit less and flown over here, for example. So I think with this combo of the Flash Outbreak and the very fast movement of the Hellblade together with the Gift of Plagues, we can spread contagions, disabling a lot of the opponent's units and rerolls and yeah, interesting abilities quite considerably. So some summary and final thoughts, flying back from the tabletop simulator. So the Hellblade is a Forge World option flyer available to the Death Guard army. Its best weapon loadout is the 2x twin autocannon, and more versatility with this weapon rather than 2 las cannons. Being an aircraft, it has decent durability versus ranged weapons, especially being -1 to hit, and it's difficult for the opponent to charge it. Only fly units can charge it and engage it in melee combat. With its very high movement in combination with low point cost, it can be very useful applying disabling plague company contagions to the enemy already from very early on in the game, from the first turn basically. And of course, I know that this type of model, I don't have such model in my collection because I mean it's a Forge World model. I don't have so much Forge World stuff, but it opens up for some very interesting combinations using the stratagems and the psychic powers to to have a very high and very fast contagion spreader on the table. So have you had some experience with the Hellblade, with our new Codex, using maybe some of these combinations? And this, with these words, concludes this this shorter video. If you like this video, please press like and subscribe to the channel, where I will be posting more videos on Death Guard tactics. If you wish to support the channel even more, you can visit my Patreon page, patreon.com General Yanis, to take part of the discussions and get some extra materials and vote, for example, on the next video topic. So with these words, General Yanis is signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.